All right. Well, we're live here on YouTube. I don't know how much longer it'll last. We had some trouble connecting. We tried to do a live on Twitter, but that failed. Not because my phone failed, it's because the internet connection failed. Um, but in any case, I want to, I've done a number of videos uh, playing some of the Rubing exercises here on my channel. And I've gotten some really great feedback. I think I've even gotten a student out of it. And that really wasn't I'll be honest with you, that wasn't what I intended to do. Actually, this YouTube channel was to get help my students that I already have with some of the stuff that we're doing. Sort of give them an extra shot at it with me being there when they got home. Sorry for the darkness. I'm in the car and it's just dark. Let me see if I can. No, that creates light behind me. That doesn't work. But in any case, let me do something else. There you go. That constant noise of the AC is awful. Let me pull on the window a little bit, get a little bit more light, maybe. But in any case, it is. That was the idea. The idea was to make sure that my students had a little extra help when I wasn't there. But what's happened is that some of you guys who are from other places have tuned in and decided that. Sorry, I got some bird poop on my window. And that you are enjoying the videos, and I appreciate that greatly. I really appreciate that. I know that I've sort of stalled, but I got a lot going on. I still have a lot going on. I got this going. I mean, this YouTube channel, my wife and I's YouTube channel, my other personal channel. I got a lot going. I got a lot going on. So I'm not making excuses. I'm just telling you what's happening. So hopefully next week I'll get back and get probably 6 or 7 more lessons in the Rubank series done. I don't want you to think I've given up on you, because I haven't. I got some things that I want to share about music and about teaching music, because I've learned some stuff over the past 32 years. What I really wish that we could do is that we could change how we do it entirely. How we could decide that we're not going to teach music and the fundamentals of music through just the playing of an instrument. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that here in America, here in the United States, most people learn about music or the fundamentals of music is because they've started to play an instrument, whether they started to play piano or guitar or the saxophone or clarinet, and they learn how all the fundamentals of music, all the stuff that you have to know about key signatures and time signatures and scales and all that stuff. At the same time, they're trying to learn an instrument. They're trying to manipulate an instrument, whether it be a flute or a clarinet or a guitar or a piano. They're trying to manipulate an instrument or learn to manipulate an instrument at the same time. What I'm finding is that may not be the way to do it. Now, I know that we've produced a lot of amazing musicians around the world doing it like that, but I'm still not sold on that's the way to do it. I am becoming more of the mind, and I hope to be able to try this out, that when we talking about teaching music to kids, that we start with the fundamentals first. Now, with things like Suzuki, we're not even talking about any of these fundamentals. We're going right to playing the instrument and having kids just imitate sound, imitate stuff, and then figuring it out later. Yes, you've seen some pretty amazing demonstrations of that, but I still think, because I'm hard-headed, I guess, I still think that's still not the way that we should do it. I really think that we can do it another way. I think that we can teach all the fundamentals and basics and then have them apply those to whatever instrument they want. And because then they're only dealing with one thing. They're dealing with the manipulation of the instrument. And I guess that's kind of what Suzuki is. But I want to make sure that I think it's easier. I would think it's easier to apply this to whatever instrument at that point, because all the music reading stuff, all the scale stuff, you have that, you already have that down, and now you're just trying to manipulate it. Let me give you an example of a reason why I think that's the way to go. A number of years ago, I had a chance to teach general music at a little private school, and at that private school, it wasn't going to be an instrumental class. It was going to be a class about music. So what I decided to do was I spent the first, well, a good part of the class teaching music history, or general music history. And so what I decided to do the second part of the class was teach general music, or gen mus as we call it in the biz. And what I did then was I just taught them the basics of what music reading was, what clef signs were, what the notes on the staff, what a staff was, all the stuff that you learn when you're learning an instrument. I taught them all that stuff, and then we went into actually what scales were, and we started dealing with a little bit of intervals and a little bit of triads before we were done, and quality of triads before we were done. And the fourth quarter, we decided that we would actually start a class guitar. I think the school was a little bitty private school run by a man and his wife. So they got some money to get some guitars, and so we decided that we would play guitar in our music class. Now, I'm not a guitar player. I have guitars, but I'm not a guitar player. But so we decided that we would do that. I would teach them, my initial thought is that I would teach them a few chords, and we would learn a few songs, and that would be cool. And it would satisfy their requirement for music and performing arts. There was, for the kids who were older, it would satisfy their performing arts credit. So when they sent in their material, they could get their diploma. But as it turned out, because I taught them the other stuff first, my thought was, okay, let's see if we if we can play a G scale. Well, because we knew what a G scale was, we knew the notes that were contained in a G scale. Now all I had to do was teach them where those notes were on the guitar fretboard. And once I taught them where those notes were and how the guitar fretboard worked, then all they had to do was apply the knowledge they already knew to the fretboard and the guitar. And guess what? It was just minutes before they were playing E scales and G scales and B scales. They were playing in flats. They were playing flat scales on guitar, and if you're a guitar player, guitar players sort of avoid flats and flat keys, but these kids were playing flat scales on guitars, pretty much like in 20 minutes. Why? Because they were just applying that knowledge, and I'm extrapolating from that. I'm taking from that is that if we taught flute that way, or saxophone, or piano, or any instrument in the same manner, where we learned all that other stuff first, we learned all the rhythmic stuff first, that then they would just be manipulating the instrument, making sure that the buzz was right to get the proper sound, and they were pressing down the right fingerings, but they wouldn't be so concerned with, oh, what is that note? They would already know, oh, that's a B flat. And the only thing you have to worry about is, how do I make this instrument make that noise? So I'm looking, actually I am really looking to try this out on a larger scale. I don't know if I'll be able to do it live, or be able to do it here on the internet. I'm not sure, but if you've got any ideas about that, or if you've seen what I'm talking about, somebody else is already doing it, please let me know. I'd certainly like to know. All right, listen, I gotta fight this traffic here, or I'm trying to make a left turn in a place where, frankly, it'd have been easier to make a U-turn down the street. but I'm stuck here, so I'm gonna try to do the best I can. Anyway, until I see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. Saxophone.